Great. Well, thanks for joining. We are going to start out in a comfy restorative pose today. So if you have your blanket or towel near, you're going to want to find that. And then if you also have the pillow, the cushion, or the bolster, bring that onto your mat as well too. And we're going to lay that long ways along the mat. If you happen to have, I'm going to use a block, but if you have a book, if you have another pillow or something of that sort, just lift up on the one side, the side that's closest to the back of your mat, and place that bolster, that block, that other pillow, whatever you have, to the back of your mat there. And we're going to start in a supported Baddha Konasana. So that's a really nice heart and chest opener combined with an opening in the hips. And so what you're going to do is you're going to scoot your butt right up to the bottom of the pillow or the bolster that you have. And you're going to take your towel and you're going to fold it long ways. And then you're just going to roll it. So you're rolling your towel long ways. Yep, it looks good the way you have it there. Great, looks good. And so then what you're going to do is you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And you're going to place the towel directly on top. Just towel right over top. So it kind of covers that little diamond hole shape that you have right in the middle. Yeah. And then you're going to take the ends of the towel here. And you're going to wrap them behind your ankles. So it's almost like you have a little wreath, and then you'll be able to pull that from between down by your heels. I'm just watching your setup here. Keep going. Yep, so bring the soles of your feet together first. Yep. And then place the towel on top and then wrap it under. Yep, nice job. And then what you're going to do is you're going to walk your hands back here and then start to slowly allow yourself to recline over your pillow or your bolster. And close your eyes if that feels comfortable and safe for you today. And allow your hands to open out to the side, giving your elbows a nice bit of space. And just come into your place on the mat today. Allowing yourself to breathe at whatever pace is most comfortable. If at any point it's feeling, a little twitchy or you have some points of discomfort, feel free to adjust. But we're going to start by coming into some guided breath work. And so I'm going to ask that you place one hand across your heart and another hand across your belly. And we're going to start by focusing on a 3-part breath. And the 3 parts of the breath are filling through the lower belly, where your one hand is, your mid-belly, between your 2 hands, and then the upper chest, where your hand on your heart is. And we're just going to take it nice and slow. We're going to be filling as we inhale from the bottom, and then exhaling through the bottom up to the top as well. So let's give that a try. Let's take an inhale through our nose, filling up the bottom, poofing out your belly, coming to the middle, and then topping off with your chest. And then exhale from the bottom, your middle, and your chest. Then again, inhaling, filling your bottom, your middle belly, and then your chest. Releasing from the bottom, the middle, and your chest. Continue like that, inhaling, feeling from your bottom, your middle, and your chest. Exhaling in the same pattern from the bottom, middle, and chest. And then go at your own pace. Keeping that same sequence though, filling from the bottom and exhaling from the bottom as well. Now that you've taken a couple breaths, just notice where your shoulders are. Have they creeped up? Allow them to drop back and down. And continue. If by chance you've been exhaling through your mouth, go ahead and lick your lips and seal off your mouth so that we can inhale and exhale both through our nose in that same pattern, filling from the bottom and expelling from the bottom. And for our last couple breaths, if it feels comfortable for you, you can release your hands, maybe switch the position, so whichever one was on your heart, take it to your belly, and vice versa. Let's take 2 more breaths together. Inhaling through our lower belly, our middle belly, and our chest. Exhaling out through the lower belly, the middle belly, and the chest. Last one. Nice deep inhale, filling from the bottom, coming up through the middle and the chest. Releasing through the bottom, the middle, and your chest. And then bring your hands to a prayer position, taking your elbows, taking your thumbs to your third eye, that space of intuition between your physical eyes. And breathe here. For this practice today, maybe you'll find an intention for yourself for the next hour that we're together on this mat. Maybe it's self-compassion. patience, and when in doubt, love. If those words don't resonate with you, that's totally fine. Feel free to insert whatever is the most meaningful for you today. And let's take 3 breaths here, just focusing on your intention. Last breath. And then open your hands, placing the palms down along your eyes, if that's comfortable for you. And then start to slowly open them so that your fingers kind of act as little gates, helping to meter in the bright light of the sun or the room that you're in. And then eventually allowing your hands to drop alongside your body. And then taking them to the outside of your knees, helping your knees come back to center. And then walking your feet in a little closer to your butt. Rolling carefully over onto your right side. Maybe that's off of your setup, or maybe you balance on top. Breathing here. And then pressing down into the earth, allowing yourself to slowly come up to a seated position. You can move your bolster, your pillows, all of your equipment off to the side. Now that we have sufficiently come into this space, feel free to choose a seated position that works for your body today. It could be Virasana like I have. You can put a block between your ankles and sit back on it. Or you could come into a cross-legged position, Sukhasana. And we're gonna start out by doing some seated cat and cows. Just like we worked on Tuesday, really focusing on the different ways in which your shoulder, your chest, and your spine can open. We'll think back to that today as we round our chin, tucking it down in, and allowing the backs of our body to spread out, our shoulder blades to expand, and the arm bones to roll forward. And then exhale as you press back, opening your chest, allowing the shoulders and the arm joints to come out, spreading, and that clenching of your shoulder blades together in the back. And then let's take it back to the front. Inhaling as you roll forward, tucking your chin. And exhale as you open up, expanding upwards to the sky. And let's do a couple more like that. Whatever pace works for you today. And maybe you're rolling back and forth. You see me kind of moving side to side. Maybe you take nice exaggerated shoulder rolls as you come back. And then exaggerated shoulder rolls as you tuck your chin and come forward. Looks good. And then from here, if your legs are crossed, switch the crossing of your legs so the one that's underneath will come on top. And then we're going to inhale our arms up overhead. And then exhale, opening them to the right. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling, opening to the left. Do that once again. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, opening them out to the right. Inhale as we bring them up. Exhale as we open to the left. Nice job. And then from here, let's take our left ear down to our left shoulder, stretching out through the right neck. And if it feels comfortable, extend your right arm out to the side, elongating that stretch alongside that line that goes from the ears the whole way down to your fingertips. And then bring your neck back up to center, releasing your hands, and take the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. This time, left arm will go out to the side, feeling that stretch. Sending breath into any points of stickiness. And on your next inhale, bring your hands back to center, your neck in the front of your mat. And then remove any sort of equipment that you've been sitting up on. And then come to the front of your mat. And just allow yourself to have a really squatted position. Your knees are nice and bent. Your hands are flat on the mat. Your head is hanging low. Kind of like in a supported chair pose almost. And then slowly start to straighten your legs just until it feels like there's a nice stretch. Hands are still on the earth. And then exhale as you come back down into that squatty position here. Imagine if you're about to sit down in a chair. And then exhale as you tuck your pelvis, lifting it high up, straightening your legs. And exhale as you release down, coming into that seated, crouching position again. And last time like this, pressing into the earth with your feet as you extend your legs upward. And then slowly start to release your hands, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Allowing your shoulders to come back up and release them down. Coming into our Tadasana pose. Let's inhale our arms up overhead. Exhale as we hinge at our hips, bending at our knees, folding forward. Inhaling as we come to our halfway lift. Exhaling, bending our knees, folding forward. And then exhale as we reverse swan dive our arms up overhead. Exhaling as we come, bringing our hands to heart center. Let's do that once more. Inhale, rising up, lifting up. Exhale, hinging forward, coming into the forward fold. Inhale as we rise halfway up for a flat back. Exhale, bending our knees, folding forward. And then inhale as we rise up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale as we bring our arms up. Exhale as we swan dive to our forward fold. Inhale for our halfway lift. And on this next time forward, plant your hands and bring your right foot back. So you're coming into that low lunge. And then drop that back knee and tuck the back toe. Allow yourself to walk your hands up onto your left knee. Coming into our Anjaneyasana pose. Feeling that stretch along the front hip flexor of the right leg. If this bothers your knee, I hear that a lot from people. You want to make sure that you're not actually right on your knee joint. You're actually a little forward, and it's almost as if you're on the top part of your quadricep muscle, that big muscle in the front of the knee. And so allow yourself to lean forward here for a little bit. Breathing, sending that breath down in through the front of the right leg. And then when you're ready, plant your hands down in front and just shift that weight back. So rocking onto the heel of the left foot to stretch out the back of the left leg. Get that nice, often very tight hamstring. We spend a lot of time sitting, and so this can get really tight. And then maybe you rock back and forth, leaning forward, coming back. Eventually working your way to a point of a straight leg. It might take years, and that's fine. Nice job, looks good. And then come back once again with your flexed foot. Let's hold here. And then rock onto your left foot. Walking your hands to the inside of that left foot. So that will mean that you'll probably have to walk that left foot out to the outside of your mat. And then take your right arm up to the sky for an open twist here. If it's available for you and your knee feels a little uncomfortable, feel free to tuck that back toe and come up off of it. Allow yourself to feel grounded in this pose, but yet you're reaching up, extending forward. And you can play with your arm. Maybe you can move it to the front, maybe to the back. And then allow yourself to bring both hands to the front. Come onto the toes of the back foot. Lower down that knee once again. Pressing into the mat to send your left foot back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Maybe shaking it out, pedaling your feet, pressing down and away from the earth with your hands, sending your hips back and up. Breathing here. And then rock forward, coming into our plank pose. Coming back, extending into our downward facing dog, pressing up. Rocking forward into our plank pose. And then lower your knees, your chest, and your chin. Pressing into a baby cobra on the inhale. Exhale, tucking your forehead and your toes and pressing back into our downward facing dog. This time, let's take the left foot up in the air. Let's open the hip. So your knee is gonna bend. It's gonna kind of wiggle here, just loosely hang almost, as if you're gonna kick yourself in the booty. And then straighten that leg behind you, turn forward, bring your knee into your chest, and then place that left foot down in front of you once again. We're gonna open up into our warrior two, spinning that back foot down, and then bringing that front arm up and over for reverse warrior. Straightening that front leg as we come into our reverse triangle. Nice job. And then bringing your arms back to your warrior two, extending forward, and then eventually down to come into our triangle pose. Cartwheel your arms around towards the front of the mat. Once again, pressing into the earth, sending that left leg back into your downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then let's do the same thing on the right side. So open, kicking your right leg up, opening your hip, allowing your leg to kind of swing there, bouncing back and forth as if you were kicking yourself in the butt. And then straighten that leg, square off your hips, bring your knee into your nose, and then plant it forward for your low lunge, right foot forward. And tuck that back toe and release that back knee down onto the earth. Walking your hands up alongside the right knee, stretching out through the front of that left leg. And once again, if it feels a little ouchy on your knee, just make sure that you are rocking onto that muscle, not onto the actual bone, that patella. It's really tiny, and so it can get irritated really fast. Allow that weight to distribute over that big muscle. You should be able to feel the stretch in through the front of the left leg. And then bring your hands down alongside the front leg, walking back, flexing the right foot to feel that stretch throughout the back of your right leg. And if it feels good for you, you can come forward, pointing, and then coming back, flexing that foot, stretching out through that right leg. And then the next time you come back, flex that toe and allow yourself that hold. Nice. And then roll forward, coming onto those toes in the front. And then just like we did on the other side, walk that right foot out to the side of your mat so that your fingers are inside. And then come up on that back left toe as you extend your left arm up to the sky. Have a nice twist here. And allow yourself to come to a point that feels good for your neck. Maybe looking down at the earth, maybe looking out in front. And do that same investigation with your hand, that left arm. Does it like to be in the back? Does it like to be straight up in the air? Or does it like to be out front? Invite that movement into your body. And then bring both hands, that left hand down into the earth, pressing down, sending that right leg back into our downward facing dog. Breathing here. If at any point it's a little bit too tight on your hamstrings, feel free to bend your knees so that you can really at least stretch out the shoulders and eventually working your way towards the straight leg. It's not necessary that your heels touch. Mine actually are not touching right now either. So let's continue in this series. Bring that right foot up into the air. Bring the knee into your nose and then place that right foot forward. Circling the arms, coming up into our warrior two on this side. Breathing here, feeling the strength of this pose. And then tuck that front leg or the front arm, tipping it up to the ceiling, coming into a reverse warrior. Breathing here. Always thinking about lifting up rather than just tilting back. And then straighten that front leg, making sure it still has a micro bend in it. You don't need to hyperextend. And then release your arms, coming back into warrior two arms, and bringing that front one forward and eventually down, coming into our Trikonasana. That strong and stable triangle pose. And then both hands down onto the mat. Walk that right foot over to the very right edge of your mat. And then bring that left foot to the outside of both of your hands. You're kind of in like a wide squat. Yeah, nice job. And then just do that. Allow yourself to squat down so that your hands are in between your knees. If you need to bring your heels out a little further, that's fine as well. And then come down into a position where your hands are in a prayer position between your knees. You're squatting here, feeling that strength, that grounding experience, as well as that opening throughout your inner thighs. Nice job. And then tuck your chin, roll up one vertebrae at a time, shoulders coming up last, rolling them back, coming into our Tadasana pose. And then let's bring our hands up overhead and sit back into a chair pose as well. So nice, strong, long, maybe your toes are together, maybe your feet are about hip width apart. Bring your hands to heart center, and then take your left elbow and see if you can bring it out to your right knee. However far you can get is fine. There's no need to crank on it or really feel that twist beyond what you're capable of right now. It'll get there. Breathing here. And then look down at your toes. Lift up onto your left toes and take a step back. So you're in a twisted lunge, essentially. Yep, looks good. Just bring that left foot back. Nice job. And then come back to center, rising up into our high lunge here. Breathing. Releasing our hands back behind us, and see if you can grab opposite elbows with your hands. If that's possible, start to lift up. Use the leverage of your arms to press into your lower back. You don't want to drop your neck, but rather you want to extend your heart up to the sky. And then lower down, bringing both hands beside your feet, pressing into the earth, sending yourself back into your downward facing dog. And then rocking forward into our plank, moving back into our downward facing dog, coming forward into our plank, lowering down onto our knees, our chest and our chin. Inhaling as we press up into baby cobra. Exhaling as we tuck our chin, tuck our toes, come to our downward facing dog. And then walk our feet up to the front of the mat to meet your hands. Bring your toes together. And then come up in through your chair pose. Exhaling as you extend up, bringing your hands alongside your body. Let's do that once more. Inhale, bring our hands up above our head. Exhale as we sit back into our chair pose. Bring your hands to your heart center in prayer. And then take that right elbow, seeing if you can bring it to the outside of your left knee. Feeling that twist. Breathing here. And then look down at your toes, lift your right toe, and then take a step back. So you open yourself back into that twisted lunge. Nice job. Breathing here. Then on your next inhale, bring your hands back to heart center, extending them up for our high lunge. And then reversing the swan dive, bring your hands down to the front, kicking back with our left foot into our downward facing dog. Breathing here. And this time around, let's walk our hands back to meet our feet. And then grab opposite elbows in the front as we're hanging down here. Maybe rock side to side. Just allowing gravity to take over. And release your hands down. Let's bring them behind our back, interlace them, and then allow them to fall forward as you imagine the crown of your head reaching down to the earth, bending your knees if that makes this pose more accessible. And then releasing our hands down to the mat in front of us once again, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Nice. We're going to come into a balancing pose. And so we've done this one a couple times, and I'm going to work to build on it for you. So we're going to start in a tree pose. So let's bring our weight into the right toes, so our knee is bent. And then we're going to open out to the side with our hip. And maybe that means that our ankle and our heel will rest nicely on the inside of that lower leg. Maybe it means it comes up into the calf, or maybe it rises up, fitting nicely into that inner thigh. And all along, you're pressing your foot and the opposite leg together. That's what allows that balance to take place. And your hands can come to heart center. They can be in that pose behind you with grabbing opposite elbows. They can be up to the sky, whatever works for you today. Nice job. And then bring that foot out to the front, placing it back down. I'm going to have us build on this pose like I mentioned to you. So you're going to take that right hand and just place it out to the side, kind of like someone's giving you like a low five. And then you're going to pick that right leg up and just imagine if it would be placed right on top of that hand open. So you can see the action that I'm doing. It's going to catch on the inner arch side of the foot, the inner arch side. And then have a slight bend in that left knee, and you're just going to kick back. There's no leaning forward. It will naturally happen. You're just kicking back with that foot, grounding down in through the left leg. Maybe you take your arm out in front, and then slowly come back down, shaking that leg out. We'll move on to the other side. So come up onto the toes of your left foot, turning your hip out, and nestling that heel of the foot into your leg. Maybe it's at the ankle, the calf, or maybe it's in the inner thigh. And just like on the other side, lots of options for your feet as well as your arms. It can be up in the air. It can be behind you, reaching for opposite elbows. It can be at heart center. Nice job. And then bring that knee out in front, lowering it down. We'll take the same standing bow pose on this side. So bring that hand out like you were going to get that low five. And then imagine if you're bringing that foot and the inner arch part is meeting your hand. You want to have your knees together And then that right foot has a slight bend in the knee. And you're just gonna kick back. Eventually, you're gonna feel that tension where there's no more room for you to go except for bringing your chest forward. You should imagine the strong pull, that tension between your back hand and the kicking of your foot. The kicking of the foot is actually what gives you the balance. You fall out, come back in, give it another try. And then slowly release down, shaking that leg out as well. Nice job. And when you're ready, come to the top of your mat and then just slowly lower yourself down onto your back. If you would like to, we're going to come into a bridge pose. If you would like to have any of your props to support you, I would highly recommend it. So if you have a blanket or your pillow, I'm going to use this block here. I'm going to roll onto our backs. Our knees are up in the air, our feet are firmly planted. And then when we inhale, we're going to press down into the earth with our heels. Maybe you'll sneak that prop underneath your sacrum, that big, heavy intersection at the bottom of our spine. And allow yourself to rest here. If you're not using a prop, feel free to come down at this point. Maybe you'll bring your knees into your chest, rock them back and forth, while the rest of us stay in a supported pose. And if you were without the prop, feel free to press down into the earth, lifting your hips, coming up into your second bridge. Nice. Imagining that there's a basketball in between your knees, you're squeezing them together. Nice adjustment. And then lower down, slowly. Bringing your knees into your chest, rocking back and forth. Great. We'll do one more bridge for those of us that are coming back up. So plant your feet down into the earth. Exhale as you send your hips high. Maybe this time you'll reach your hands underneath where your butt is, really allowing your chest to open. Making sure that you're squeezing with your butt, bringing those inner thighs together, releasing your hands, and then slowly, let's all of us lower down. If you were up on a prop, release it. Let's all bring our knees into our chest, rock back and forth. And then extend your left leg out in front of you, while you bring your right leg up above your head. So depending on your flexibility, you might have a nice bend in both of your knees. Maybe even that left leg is completely bent and your foot is on the mat. That's how I'm gonna take this pose today. And then whatever is possible for you, just slowly bring your hands to walk up closer to your toes. And then whenever you start to feel like your upper body is going to come off the mat, just hang out there. I will caution you though, make sure that you're not pulling on your knee. So come into the big muscles of your calf or your hamstring here. And then just breathe as you're stretching out through the back of the leg. And then bend that leg, cross your ankle over your left knee, and come into our reclined figure 4 pose. You can stay in this pose here if you're feeling the stretch, or if you'd like a little bit more, feel free to reach your hands in between your legs and then crisscrossing them behind your left shin. breathing here, making sure that your shoulder blades are pressed down into the earth, nice and flat. And then slowly release your hands, bringing that knee back into your chest, and then releasing that right leg, taking it out, giving it a little bounce. And we'll go to the other side. So maybe that right knee will stay lowered down, or maybe you'll bring it into a bent knee position. And then you'll bring your left knee into your chest, and then start to extend the foot up into the air. Just like we did on the other side, whatever feels right for the stretch for your leg today. Maybe you're holding behind your calf, maybe you're holding behind your hamstring. Wherever it feels just enough, but not tearing or pulling or anything like that. And then let's bend that knee, cross that ankle out over your right knee, coming into our figure 4 position here. Sending your breath down into your hips. It's a nice stretch. And if you'd like a little more on this side, feel free to bring your arms in between your legs, interlacing them on the front side of your right calf. You want to try to make sure that your top body is pressed down into the earth, whatever you're doing with your legs. And then release that right foot down onto the earth. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Extend your right leg out in front of you. Bring your hands up above your head and then stretch out on both sides, feeling that stretch almost as if you're climbing up like a vertical ladder. You're reaching, you're stretching. And then let's take all 4 appendages, expand them out. And exhale, bringing your hands along your side, your knees into your chest. Let's give a nice little rock here. And then just like we started, let's bring the soles of our feet together in this pose. We're just changing gravity on us. So maybe there'll be a little bit more openness, and you're just grasping the soles of your feet as they're together. Maybe you can press out just a little bit with your elbows. Feel that stretch in the inner thighs. And then bring your knees back together. Extend your left leg out in front, keeping the right one into your chest. And then roll your right knee over to the left side to feel that nice stretch alongside the back body, in through your shoulder and your chest. Maybe you start to close your eyes, allowing your breath to fill the joints and muscles. And then roll back onto your back. Releasing that right leg, bringing your left leg in, and then taking your left knee out to your right, feeling the stretch along the opposite side of the body, coming in through the back, your shoulder, and your chest. Keep breathing here, sending your breath into any of the points of tension. And then when it feels right for you, roll back onto your back. Bring both knees into your chest. Rock back and forth. And then take your arms around your knees, grasping opposite elbows, and rolling yourself into a little ball here, tight. Exhaling. And then on your next inhale, allow yourself to open up, coming into our Shavasana. Taking up the space that you need, extending your legs, opening your arms. And let's take an inhale together through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. Let's do that once more. Inhale through our nose. Exhale through your mouth. Rest here. Start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then roll on to your right side, resting there, taking a couple breaths. Eventually pressing up, coming into a comfortable seated position. And joining your hands together at your heart center. Feel free to join me on an inhale for Om. Let's inhale together. Om. And bring your hands to your third eye. Giving your point of intuition a little massage. And then bowing down to the earth, sealing our practice time together. Thanking yourself for coming to the mat this afternoon. And rising up. Taking one last time to think of that intention that you set. Maybe it was patience. Maybe it was kindness. Hopefully there was love involved. Thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.